What's good, YouTube? Spiderman the guy Keese here, and yes, I know my cute ass face is missing from this video.
Step back, I think I'm gonna vomit!
Do not worry, in the next video my face will be back, but welcome to another episode of Keese Speaks, and today I wanted to talk more about Marvel's Spider-Man 2, because it's been about a year and a half since the last time we got the reveal trailer, and since then, we haven't really got anything, and a PlayStation Showcase is happening today, and it's been heavily rumored that it's going to be there, so I'm trying to get, I want this video to be out so I can say I called it whenever the trailer comes out. So, without further ado, let's get into it. When it came to talking about gameplay in the first video, which you guys should check out, link in the description, I focused mainly on the changes and differences between Peter and Miles' traversal and skill set. While I'm not diverging completely from that angle, I now want to dive deeper into more additions. The first addition I would like stems from an idea that came to me when I was playing the Miles Morales game. I was playing the carefully crafted challenges Peter set up for Miles while he was gone during the events of that game. We know that both Peter and MJ live together now, and it'd be cool if we could traverse through their apartment building and explore the unit, talk to MJ, or even work on that dumpling recipe. But the concept I really would like to see is, alright, hold on, I'm about to put you on to something. Picture this, if you will. Peter comes home after a long day, takes off his suit and goes to sleep. This is a way of saving it, but it also opens up this new side concept that allows you to have these flashback style missions centered around Peter fighting his past villains over the course of the time period before the events of the first game, or even the time between the end of Miles Morales and the beginning of this one. There could even be missions styled around Peter training Miles and seeing the escalation in character development to becoming Spider-Man that we unfortunately didn't really get to see throughout the first two stories. Miles himself could even have this where he's either still living with his mom or even now roommates with his friend Genki. These missions could be more focused on showing more of Miles' personality through mission flashbacks back before he even knew Peter, akin to, I believe, the last mission of the Miles Morales game when he was with Finn. You could even have missions where he's going off on his own and trying to train himself to be Spider-Man and him messing up. Now, since promotion of the first game was popping off and it was revealed that JJ, or J. Jonah Jameson if you want to get political about it, had a podcast instead of working at the Daily Bugle, which I think was a very cheeky way of making a more contemporary version of JJ, which I did honestly enjoy very much. But the best thing about it was a way of kind of fleshing out the open world with him describing details in the world that were influenced by Peter's actions, and even dials in with citizens of New York to hear them either defend him or chastise him as a hero. The Miles Morales game brought those back with even a whole new show with Danica. Bring those back pretty please. Now, rumors have been circulating that co-op is involved. While I don't believe there will be, both Peter and Miles will be playable though. So I don't see why there can't be like a GTA style switch where you go from Peter to Miles and vice versa almost instantaneously. It would be really cool if you're just swinging through the city as Peter, then switch and you're in the middle of stopping a crime as Miles. And now the final thing about the gameplay is Peter Parker himself. Now, I remember the controversy behind the face swap that Peter underwent, and honestly, while I too was one of the people that liked the original better, the new one has grown on me. But the only problem I got that I think everyone has is that he doesn't necessarily look his age. He kind of looks like Miles' age, definitely in the first game, and Miles was looking years above his own. I mean, the comparison in the final scene with Peter and Doc Ock kind of shows how much more detail it seemed they put in their original face. I'm not coming at Sonic, I love you guys. All I say is add some like wrinkles and mess his hair up a little bit, make him look like a guy in his mid-20s who's gone through extreme loss and working day in and day out trying to balance saving and protecting his city, his love life, and his own personal life while struggling to make ends meet and finding a new career. Now, these next few things I want to say are kinda adjacent to the gameplay part, so they're pretty much just bullet points from them. So the next thing I would like to see differently is more crimes. The first two games did an amazing job with including a varied amount of crimes that eventually escalate to include different objectives. You could even, let's say, add fires or loose explosives that need to be dismantled, like in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. But other crimes can happen, is like taking people to the hospital, like in Amazing Spider-Man 1 or Ultimate Spider-Man, and bank heists, kind of like Batman Arkham Knight's Two-Face missions. Along with new crimes, say for instance you're going to stop a jewelry store robbery, which starts with full-blown combat but transitions to a stealth sequence when they take a hostage and drive to an abandoned building. It will add such a dynamic element to the open world that changes how the player plays and kind of have them not only think on their feet but think how can they stop this crime as fast as possible with as little collateral damage. Sprinkle some of that RNG in the structure of the crimes and we'll never see it coming. But speaking of structure, I think a major increase in quality that the side missions could benefit from is a dedicated storyline structure to the side missions. Now, Miles Morales definitely had structure with a lot of side missions centered around the Kingpin plot and his escape from the confines of his own prison cell. That honestly was pretty cool and unexpected in my first playthrough. So this critique mainly comes from things missing from the first Spider-Man game. This style of side content can honestly follow Batman Arkham Knight's route, or even Witcher 3, who in my opinion were perfect examples of a lived-in open world. It'd be cool if each story thread had multiple missions centered around a villain or two as the main antagonist. There's an abundant amount of potential in this because Spider-Man has an incredible rogues gallery, and some of those villains definitely aren't big enough for a main antagonist role, but Insomniac Games could garner a bunch of respect and interest in some of these villains. Now, the Taskmaster missions in the first game was honestly a very fun and engaging piece of side content. Now, while it doesn't necessarily have to be him, more missions in this style with honestly maybe a bigger payout from doing them would be amazing. Now, I know what I'm about to say may trigger some of you, but do y'all remember the critically acclaimed Amazing Spider-Man 2 game? In that game, good old Stan the Man Lee, rest in peace, ran a comic book store where you could freely walk in there and take a look at some figurines and actually read Spider-Man comic books. But all the way in the back, you can interact with an arcade machine and go through these combat challenges that low-key got really difficult after a while. Now, while that game was pretty much trash, that one edition was actually fun, and something similar would be a welcome addition to the side content in the game. Maybe to use it as something to replace the villain bases. In the last video, I talked about ways that Peter's gameplay can be different from Miles' gameplay. Like I said, link in the description. Another addition that Peter could have is his iconic web wings from the comics. Now, Peter is pretty much fast on his own, but Miles can get down the block faster than the New York Metro. Say you could put together a sequence of stylish swings and tricks, then hit like R3 or something to activate the web wings and glide across the city skyline and as low as the city streets. Now, the last gameplay addition will be the iconic slingshot move. The last time we seen this was, funny enough, from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. Hold on, that's like the third time I've mentioned this game. Was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game underrated? Let me know. 2014 Game of the Year, let's go! Nah, I'm playing around. But I remember using the Spider-Man 3, and it was very limited where you could, hit the move at. But in that game, you could just pause, pull it out anytime, anywhere.
Hey,
wow.
yo!
And to be frank, it could stretch quite far down the street. Wow.
Hey, yo!
So I have a script, and this is bad, bro. This sounds so bad. The cast of characters from both Spider-Man games were quite impressive. Now, while some characters were better than others, it would be a nice, sweet treat if some of them could have returned. I'm obviously not going to include anyone confirmed already, like, Spider-Man. But the one character I need to see back the most is Yuri Watanabe. Her journey from stern, driven, and determined police captain to angry, violent, and broken killer has been always the most compelling side content in the DLC that involves seeing the gradual decrease in Yuri's psyche. In the comics, Yuri becomes the vigilante known as Wraith. Now, I need a showdown between her and Peter. It's been like a year or two since her quitting the police department, so her skills are well honed. The next returning character I'd like to see is Taskmaster. Now, I already said I would like his challenges to come back, but his reasoning for returning could be completely different. There was a bit of a cliffhanger in the first game that hinted at a future appearance, and I would love for that loose strand from the first game to be tied up. And the last character I would love to see return is Norman Osborn. The last time we saw him was falling from the Oscar building, but with more than likely his re-election not panning out the way he would have liked, this could kind of lead into the rise of Green Goblin. There are prototype pumpkin bombs and helmets in his penthouse, so the inevitable appearance of the Green Goblin in this universe is nearly upon us, y'all. So if the new sequel leaves room for new characters, because I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to fight Rhino, but as to how they're incorporated, I don't necessarily have a preference with the exception of a few characters. Some new characters I like to see is Flint Marko, aka Sandman, Kirk Connors, aka the Lizard, which these two were hinted at that Peter had fought them in the past, so I would like for them to return in some way, shape, or form, meaning let me fight them. Next is Gwen Stacy, Eddie Brock, and finally the Spot. Now the reason why I said the Spot, like I know he's about to be in the Across the Spider-Verse movie, but I always kind of liked the Spot for some reason. I was like, man, you could really do so much with his power, and I don't know, man. I don't know. Insomniac, y'all think outside the box. He could honestly have like this cool ass fight. I don't know how to do it. I'm not a game designer, but it'd be cool. That's all I know. Now this one, I was like, I feel like this is a no-brainer, but Wolverine, right? They are developing a Wolverine game, and this definitely could set up a tease for it in some way, shape, or form. Who knows? Maybe it's at the showcase. I don't know, but yeah, I would like to see Wolverine. And if it is really there, then I really could say, I told y'all so. I knew it. I called it. Now these next few would be amazing to see them in a more creative way. For instance, Mysterio. He was one of the villains that also was teased that Peter had fought way back in his younger years. Now, I know this character did die, but Aunt May could possibly make a return because of Mysterio. Now, I hate when a character dies and comes back in a sequel as much as the next person, but I would love to see a real showdown with Spider-Man and Mysterio where he makes him hallucinate, with the hallucinations playing on Peter's anger and sorrow and guilt about the death of Aunt May. I would like multiple side missions centered around Mysterio, with the arc finishing with Peter breaking through the illusions and accepting her death and not blaming himself and moving forward just as he did with Uncle Ben. It's a nice character development that shows no matter your age, you can still learn and improve on yourself. Now these next two characters kind of will go hand in hand in this situation. Chameleon and Daredevil. I'm sure you can see where I'm going with this. Now I don't know if this is a real thing that happened in the comics or anything like that, but it's something that just came to mind. The Master of Disguise, Dmitry, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Smerdokov. That's best I can give y'all. Maybe frames Peter for like a crime or something, and my mans will need a very good lawyer. Bring in Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. Now, not to mention, Chameleon is the half-brother of Kraven the Hunter, which is already confirmed to be in the game. It's still up in the air what role Kraven will ultimately have, but the two brothers could work together to destroy Spider-Man. Now, once again, hear me out. I'm gonna lay down a story thread for y'all. Pun not intended, but kinda, but not really. So Norman Osborn finds out who Spider-Man is, and with his anger festering inside of him, believing it is his fault for messing up the cure for Harry, finds out who Spider-Man is and hires Kraven the Hunter to not only kill him, but to discredit him and make him wish he were dead. Sound familiar? So while Chameleon disrupts and interferes with Peter's life, Kraven is on the front lines battling Spider-Man, and with Spidey possibly teaming up with Daredevil, could not only wrap up Kraven's storyline, but open up the cinematic universe that Insomniac have already made and confirmed to continue expanding upon. And with that, my friends, concludes my part 2 for my Marvel Spider-Man wish list. Next one I do is probably going to be centered around possible DLC ideas, so look out for that. And like I said, it's a possibility it'll be at the showcase today. Don't really know. We thought it was going to be at other, I forgot what them Jones is called. The smaller ones, the state of plays. We all thought it was going to be at some type of state of play. We thought we were going to get a trailer or something, and nothing. So if it's there, of course, I'm going to be happy. If it's not, I won't be disappointed, because I feel like, man, low-key, I feel like they should just drop it. Just drop it. Give us a release date and drop it. I don't want to see nothing, but if it's there, I'm gonna look, obviously. But I cannot wait until this game comes out. Every time I talk about it, every time I write about it, it just makes me more and more excited. And I just know, no matter what, it's going to be another 10 out of 10 from Insomniac Games. So if you guys enjoyed the video today, like, comment, subscribe, and all that, I really appreciate it. And as always, welcome to the Struggle House, and I'ma holla at you.